welcome back. You are in the final half hour of Funtastic Fridays. We're here with you every Friday from 5 p.m. till 8 p.m. If it is that for some reason you're just joining us, I don't know what would have hold you up or anything, right? You are in the middle of Talk the Ting with Kim, where we have Dr. Kazaara helping us to understand mental health a lot better. If it is that you've missed any part of this, we will have a recording and it will be posted on, or we'll have it on the Funtastic 93 FM Instagram page. But if you want specifically the Talk the Ting with Kim segment, because you probably need to re-listen to some of the tips, or you want to share it with somebody that you know probably need to know more or understand more, check out our YouTube channel. Just type in Funtastic Fridays and you will find it, all right? Okay. So we're still here with Dr. Kazaara, and he has dropped some gems so far. Listen, may know what uno, but I are here learning, because I think that most of us think mental health can never affect us. We feel like, we have it all together. And the truth is, as you said, more than half the time, that's not the truth, all right? So the next thing that I wanted to ask is, are there any clear signs that we can look out for that signifies a mental health disorder within ourselves or people around us? Because as Jamaicans, we love to say, you have enough mad people in a clean clothes around here, right? That's a very prevalent statement, right? We work with some people, I look for them and I said, person there, some screws loose. But like we say, screws loose.
Some persons actually describe themselves as that. Say, hey, listen, me a mad somebody in a clean clothes. Like, people will actually hold on to that title.
Exactly. And like I said, sometimes we own it up for whatever our logic is. We like to brag, say, yeah, me a mad somebody, now ramp with me. Right? And then other times it's something that we completely neglect or we're afraid of, right? So I want to know, are there any signs that we should look out for, or to even look into ourselves to see if we exhibit any of these?
All right. So before we go into that, I'll just say that I'm really happy you guys are highlighting some of the terms that we use so openly and casually.
Yeah.
And, it's a part of our culture, and we do have to appreciate that. But at the same time, a lot of times when we use the terms mad somebody, we're kind of trivializing these mental health issues.
Yes.
And the issue with that is, now when someone has a significant problem, they may not feel, this isn't that big a deal, So that is we're trying. And when I say we, I mean us in the mental health community. We're trying to move away from some of those terms. I mean, it's a part of our culture and it's going to take a little time.
Yeah.
But we're going to try and move away from them. And because in some cases it trivializes it, in other cases it actually stigmatizes it.
True.
I was just about to say that. I mean, I think we call a gift and a curse.
Right.
That we can take anything and make a joke out of it.
There you go.
But then when it's actually an issue, we still miss the point there.
Right.
Yeah.
Precisely.
Yeah.
That's what we're facing right now.
Exactly. And it's not uncommon for a parent or even the patient themselves, after you sit down and explain to them what's going on and say, doctor, wait, you telling me I'm mad? Mm-hmm. We always have to kind of say, no,
you're not mad.
Exactly. We're not saying that, and we don't use that term.
Right? Yeah.
In terms of some of the signs that you can look out for, when you have a mental health disorder, it becomes challenging and sometimes almost near impossible to do some of your daily activities. That can be one of the clear signs that you might pick up. So some of the signs can be easily picked up by others, but I'd love to look at some of the signs you can pick up on your own. So one of the common complaints you'll hear from someone who might be dealing with depression or anxieties, they're struggling just to get out of bed. Mm-hmm. So a lot of us will take it for granted. We get out of bed. That's just it.
Boy, that one is personal.
Well, it's tricky.
That personal.
So how are we going to probably separate that from just regular laziness?
That one is so personal too.
No, hey, Kim, I'm just saying. I mean, we have a lazy.
Yeah, no, it's a valid question.
No problem. So laziness would usually be characterized by someone who does not want to. So the desire to get up isn't there.
Okay.
That's the difference. With someone who has a mental health issue, the desire is there. They want to.
They
want
to. Just can't.
They want to do
they
some
can't.
stuff. They want to do this.
Precisely.
It's like they feel like they can't do it.
They feel like they can't do it.
Okay.
So that's one of the telltale signs I'd pick up. And other daily activities. So things like being able to do your household chores. All of a sudden, either you can't do it, or what used to take you 20 minutes is taking you an hour.
Yeah.
And that can point to so many different things. You might be lost in your thoughts, impairments in concentration. So when you realize that your daily routine, your daily activities are being somewhat impaired, that can be a very early sign that maybe something else is going on, right? As I've said, with a physical ailment, if your foot is broken and it's taking you an hour longer to do something, you understand why.
Yeah.
But in the absence of any physical ailments, if you realize these activities, they're just taking me much longer to do, or I just simply can't do them anymore, though I would like to. So we're not talking about laziness. Then that's when you're in a situation where you may need to check yourself and say, do I have mental health issues? We like to talk about occupational impairment, academic impairment, and social impairment. So if you realize all of a sudden you're no longer performing as you once did at work. You're no longer performing like you once did at school. You're no longer being able to really be there or a part of your social groups, your friends, your family, things like that, church. Then that can really be an indicator that something else really might be going on. And of course, if you start having thoughts, as we say, negative thoughts about yourself or about the world at large, we all will have negative thoughts. That too is a part of life. And sometimes it's even appropriate. Sometimes things really are negative. It's okay to reflect on that for sometimes. When it becomes persistent and excessive, so you're spending most of your time now dwelling on this.
It becomes the norm for you now.
Exactly. No, that's your norm. That's when it can really be problematic and can point to some kind of mental health issue. So I think hopefully that covers just some of the stuff. I mean, it's quite a bit, but
I am enlightened, Kimmie.
Listen. The whole time I listen, I think about my life.
Hey. Okay. But I mean, I think because once, as you say, we do have thoughts. We have little moods, but where it gets consistent or persistent, because if it becomes where you say, all right, say we think about 1,000 things per day, if it's 5% or less than 5%, I would assume that okay, that's pretty normal, or that's not something, because you're able to find other things to put your mind to. But if this is what's constantly on your mind, then you might not be operating at norm, so you know that you gotta be checking up with.
Man, I'm learning some stuff, and that's why I like that you separated how to look into yourself first. These are the things that you need to notice, and I like that you asked that laziness question, because sometimes I'm laziness.
Listen me, everybody might be sitting down and I say, boy, sometimes
but I get up enough.
Reach us, right? It's me. Because once you have a situation, you have a little mood today, if you go so you Google it, you say, all right, feeling down, sad, don't want to eat, and you press enter on the keyboard. Google can tell you all sort of things. You have this pressure, you need to go this place, but it might just be a little moment.
You're just in a zone.
Such a great point. Great point.
That's why everybody is very, probably tuned into this segment now to say, all right, do I have any of these issues? What I had last week, is it this? But we're looking at a point where, okay, guys, is this where you're generally going each time, or was that because you miss your bus or your shoes broke or something happened to you? A one incident.
Well, you had pointed out, Dr. Kazaara, that those are some of the things you can look out for in yourself, in your own habits. But what about other persons? Are there any signs that you can notice, whether in a co-worker or your co-host? Someone can watch Lionel at evening time now to see if he's exhibiting anything. Are there any signs that we can look out for in others, that not to ostracize them, not to to basically avoid them, but just to be aware and maybe even try to help them towards the journey that they need to start,
Right. So if you're seeing like an abrupt or dramatic change in their behavior, that can sometimes be an indicator that something's going on. So all of us change. That too is a part of life. But for most of us, a healthy change is a gradual change, for the most part. I mean, if you decide that you're going to abstain from eating KFC every day, and you're not going to eat
wrong with you.
Right,
you don't decide, say.
It's depressed.
Right? It is side.
That sounds like a healthy move anyway.
Exactly, precisely.
Can't to fight that one either.
But if all of a sudden their behavior has really just changed in a way that just seems so unusual, and it's dramatic. It hasn't happened slowly over time. That sometimes can point to something's going on. And as I said, just like we mentioned, these places, school, church, the office, these are places where it can really come out, and where you can spot it, because once you go home, we say homes are a safe space, and it is, but at the same time it can sometimes also be unsafe, because it's where we can we may not necessarily be able to showcase some of our problems, which is good and bad.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say in terms of trying to help others.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you can't live in someone else's home.
Right.
Yeah.
So for that reason, we as persons, like we as individuals, and this is why mental health awareness is so important, when we're in these areas, these platforms, again, school, work, office, church, we can look out for these things. And I would just say, speaking very broadly, a dramatic change in their behavior. One of the common ones we see is persons who are just now socially withdrawn.
Right.
Oh.
Drawn.
Exactly.
They used to participate
Precisely.
a lot.
So we're seeing a change. We know some people are a little bit more extroverted than others, and that's natural. But even the persons who are more reserved will tend to have one or two or three friends
that they communicate with and really hang with.
And then all of a sudden you realize not even them they're really talking to, or the amount of time they're spending is significantly less.
Yeah.
So that sometimes can be a huge sign that something else might be going on. So these are some of the things you do have to look out for.
All right, so dramatic changes in persons around you, that's something you can look out for.
Right.
And we're not going to say, if somebody vexes somebody and not chat to somebody, then that's no,
Right.
no, guys.
Right.
We have a whole heap of different things that I guess can seem similar, but if you see a drastic change and it's not necessarily for the better, it may be a sign, an indicator, okay?
Yeah.
So, for the final question, therapy. And I ensure that I put this as a last question intentionally.
Right.
Because... and I don't want nobody to take this away. We like to say black people don't need therapy, right? Jamaicans especially, because we don't even believe in a doctor, If we're sick, we drink tea.
Right.
We don't really do the whole regular checkups and all these things. Or when something happened to you, seriously, then that is when we go doctor, which is sometimes when it's too late, right?
Right.
So therapy is not something that is prioritized or deemed important, especially in Jamaica. Right? We probably only see it in the movies or even consider it a white people thing. How important would you say seeking therapy is, and what are some options available to us here in Jamaica?
All right. So again, I'm really happy we're addressing this one because I think it's a misconception, right? Therapy is in no way a white person thing or a rich person thing, right?
No, but it's true because all the things that happen, things that happen, or we hear it in the story, in news, we're like, most of a white person that or whatever. Cause we see it as black people don't really have stresses. We don't have these things that would cause us to have any mental reaction,
Well, he said it's a rich people thing. But,
and a rich people thing too.
We have to admit the fact that based on what we see in the shows and so on, you hear
$200 per hour.
We don't have that the money there. So, I mean, in the options when they give the answers, you have to make sure you look out for something for the poor people.
So that's why I asked what options we have in Jamaica. So I had to put that part there.
Let's go. So this one I'm particularly excited to answer. Let's just briefly define what therapy is.
Yeah.
So therapy really is just a means to alleviate distress or heal a disorder. So we're trying to reduce distress or heal a disorder. And I like that because we have mental health issues, and sometimes mental health issues are severe enough to be considered mental disorders or mental illnesses, but not every mental health issue is a mental health disorder.
So there's different levels to it.
Right, exactly.
So mental health issues is at the surface.
It's the umbrella term.
The umbrella,
because technically a mental illness would be a mental health issue, but not every mental health issue is a mental illness or a disorder, right?
Okay, I get it.
I want to start there because we have formal and informal types of therapy. Let me start with the informal types, right? For me, when I look at informal types of therapy, I first want to look at what we could consider self-therapy, right? Now, part of the issue why mental health awareness is so important is once you acknowledge that there's a problem or you're aware that there's a problem, then you can start taking the steps yourself. And sometimes this is appropriate. So when I talk about self-therapy, and this is something I love to talk about when I talk to groups, there are certain activities that you yourself can identify that reduce your level of anxiety or stress. But the thing is, so for instance, let's just say that doing household chores, doing domestic chores actually calms you down.
Yeah.
I know some people hear that, they say, what?
Yeah.
But guess what,
We have
guys?
some people
I'll
that
admit
do it.
And it applies to me.
Yeah, some people
When I
like
do
that.
my household chores, it actually kind of calms me down a little bit. So if you know this, ask yourself, how often do you engage in activities like this?
Yeah.
And you realize you're probably not even trying to take account of it, right? So I always tell people, if you're intentional about these things, say to yourself, all right, once or twice a week, I'm going to do these activities that I know.
That helps to alleviate.
Exactly. And as I always mention to people, some of these activities don't require $1.
Right.
So doing a little sweeping,
So-
or for some people, believe it or not, coloring. Many adults. I know it sounds like a child thing.
No, I've
but many
heard-
adults. And one of the cheat codes, guys, is just look back at when you're in high school. A lot of people
What they like to
rediscover
do. Yeah.
activities that brought them calm.
Drawing.
And
So stuff
exactly.
like person when you see the person say, boy, they enjoy gardening and stuff like
Thank
that.
you.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So
Gardening's
hobbies,
a big one.
basically, like hobbies.
And again, you don't need to be. Some of these are free.
Yeah, so
right?
whatever.
For the most
And then
part.
exactly, some of them are free. Taking a bubble bath, like I've heard many people. Once you speak to a group and you say, guys, what are some activities that reduce your stress, or what are some activities that used to reduce your stress that you're no longer doing? Sometimes
Yeah.
people don't even realize, wait, I used to do this all the time.
I know,
And I'm no
it's
longer doing
non-existent,
it.
yeah.
So I always say these things are simple, but not always easy. So they're simple,
Just
but
have
not
to
always
try a
easy.
plan to
You have to
it
put in a
yourself.
little effort to be
Yeah.
intentional about it. So that's the self-therapy.
Okay,
right?
I like that.
So sometimes that alone will alleviate a lot of your mental health issues and distress.
Okay.
To me, the next level now, guys, and I always say this is like one of the greatest defenses against mental health issues is reaching out to people that you trust. And again, we're going to mention those same names: people that you trust at home, people you trust at school, maybe at your church.
Yeah.
It can make a big difference. A lot of times, people are suffering silently, and if they actually reached out to someone, of course, it's someone you trust.
Yeah.
They'd find out that a lot of their problems are alleviated. And a lot of us, I would say that a lot of I would like to think I have some positive mental health practices. And I'd have to say one of the things that I think keeps my mental health positive, keeps me mentally well, is the people I have in my life. So, of course, I've great friends, and I'm take this moment to big up my friends,
Yeah.
the man them, they know themselves.
Yeah.
And of course, and I use that term also, not just the man them, but also have lots of great female friends in my life. So big up to all you guys. You guys keep me going, and you guys keep me mentally well. And so let's us reach out. If you know you have friends,
Yeah.
know you have people you can speak with, spend some time with them. You're feeling down, it's an easy way to alleviate it. And again, I'm going to say be intentional.
Yeah.
In high school, where our friends are around us all the time.
No, we
Then
probably
something
don't have
happens. Yeah, we're working. You don't even see your friend.
Yeah.
They might even live maybe 2-3 minutes down the road.
But you just
But you don't even see them.
that life
True,
just
true.
happening.
Exactly. You don't prioritize it. Your
Yeah.
priority is, no, man, I have to go work, I have to do this, I have to do
Yeah.
that.
Sometimes when you're in the same house.
True.
Thank
Each
you.
other
That's
talk.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's such an insightful comment. Exactly. So it's not just about physical distance.
Yeah.
Sometimes our mind, we've distanced ourselves from persons. So I would say that reaching out to persons, sometimes that can actually, and I feel a lot of times, especially with domestic violence cases, a lot of times if they reached out to someone they trusted beforehand
Right.
to talk, not about anything even to do with the spouse or the
Right.
girlfriend, just to deal
General
with
conversation.
exactly, just general conversation to deal with a stressor that they're currently combating, then it could avoid the escalation that often plays out. And then finally, professional help. So that was the informal help, and
Right.
it can be extremely useful. It can make your life so much more fulfilling and really make you more mentally well. But there are cases where either you can't do it on your own, right? Maybe it's just a bit too severe, and the persons around you, you may not necessarily have.
Aren't properly equipped, maybe.
Thank you. Exactly. They're not properly equipped, or they may not be able to handle it themselves.
Yeah, because
Right, you-
some
They
things
might
are a
want-
lot.
yeah, they might
Exactly.
wanna
They
try
want
it, but
to,
they don't know how
but they
to.
probably don't know how
Precisely.
to.
And I hear that all the time. So when that happens, at that point, seeking professional help can go a long way to really being able to deal with the issues that you're currently distressing over. So in terms of professional help, again, so far, I want to emphasize that nothing I've mentioned is expensive, right? The self-help and reaching out to people you know. So let's start off with options I think aren't too expensive for Jamaicans. So we have something called Family Life Ministries. They actually offer counseling.
Yeah.
And so that's one area you can go to if you feel like you want something. Now, I must mention there is a religious bend to it, and that may not be for everyone. Right? People have different beliefs, and we're not
Right.
here to exclude persons, but I'm just mentioning it because I know they do a lot of work.
Yeah.
And they do have a pretty big reach. But also, counselors are more, we need more counselors in Jamaica, full stop.
Yeah.
Like we do not have enough.
Right.
But I also feel like sometimes not aware of them. So the counselors
yeah.
here at UWI,
Yeah.
right? So that's one thing. There are counselors on many of our campuses,
Right.
both at secondary level
Right,
and
high
tertiary
school
level.
and
And
yeah.
now they're really making a push to even have more of them in the primary school level. Because we appreciate, just like we talked,
Yeah.
there are all these adverse childhood events
Definitely,
going on.
especially now.
That's where it starts.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's where it starts. So Counselors, seek them out. Find out if your school has it. Find out if your church has it. Find out if your workplace has it.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. There are some offices
Workplaces.
that actually have a counselor or a psychologist that they work with. So if there's an issue with an employee in there and they pick it up, they can actually, free of cost, refer that person to that counselor. Now, we have many health centers in Jamaica. If you have a significant mental health illness or issue and you go to a health center, the doctor can actually refer you to get further treatment. Sometimes the doctor themselves may be able to help you, or they can refer you to get further treatment. We have what we call a child guidance clinics, right? So if you're a parent and you realize your child may have some significant mental health issues or may have been the victim of some kind of trauma, then you can actually, again, go to your health center, which is free, right? So we're still dealing with the freeness,
so it's still
right?
inexpensive.
We're dealing with the
free.
freeness, guys, right?
Yeah.
Go to your health center, speak to your doctor, and sometimes they can make an appropriate referral. All right, and now we're leaving the free section.
So
right?
Family Life Ministries,
Yes,
health
one.
centers can make referrals.
And
Yes, and then
counselors.
counselors as
in
well.
any institutions.
And not
So
only
churches,
knowing.
schools, office, just find out, ask. Because sometimes you don't know.
And sometimes
it's there.
the company provides the benefits.
It's not
to
only
the
about knowing it, because we also need to actually use it. Because I can tell you, guidance counselors were at my high school. I don't think I ever visited them.
True.
And not to be very
Persons
honest,
only visit them when
there
they
was
probably get in
always
trouble.
you're in trouble,
see
so
the
you want to
guidance
like
counselor.
escape, or you just want to waste a good time. But I've never.
Yeah.
I feel like I went through stuff where I needed to talk to a guidance counselor, but I
Right.
don't think, because we don't have a culture
the
that
culture.
encourage it. We just see guidance counselors. This
But I think-
person over there.
I'm familiar. No, I know. Well, one of my pastors, they are a guidance counselor at their school that they teach
There we
as
go.
well.
There we
So I know that at that school they actually promote it. So I think the schools should definitely
Promote it.
ensure that.
Yes,
And also
I
the
agree.
guidance counselors out there, if you're tuning in, if you're hearing this message, be sure that you're ensuring that you go through the classes. Let them know that
I
you
let
are
them know.
available and not just sit in your office and chill and collect the pay.
I can't tell you my
All right?
guidance counselor name.
Yeah.
But yes, continue.
Yeah, so moving on now to,
Yeah.
I guess, the paid section, the
Yeah.
paid part of things. So we have a number of psychologists, clinical psychologists, psychiatrists, and even counselors who work privately. So the reality is, I'm not going to lie, when you are going through the public system, it can take a little longer because there's only so much staff and there's quite a significant patient load. There was a
So you
significant
say we need
patient
more
load.
counselors.
Yes, exactly. There was a significant patient load before COVID. Certainly, it hasn't reduced, during the midst of it right now.
Yeah.
So what you can get with private care is sometimes it can be a bit more expedient. And so there are a number. The Jamaica Psychological Association actually produces a list of psychologists available, and the Jamaica Psychiatry Association also produces a contact list. So I would encourage anyone who wants to try and go down that private route. You guys can actually go on either the Jamaica Psychology Association website. So again, Jamaica Psychology. So we're dealing with the psychologists, guys. Or if you feel like maybe what you need is psychiatric care, medical doctors who are trained in mental health, then you can go to the Jamaica Psychiatry Association Instagram. And on the Instagram page, we do have a sheet which will show you the names and where they work. So, and fortunately, in both cases, it's all around the parishes. So not just Kingston, guys. Well,
Yeah.
Hanover, Westmoreland, anywhere, there should be someone there. So
your
that's
area. Okay, that's
so notice, guys, I really wanted to disband this idea that therapy is a rich person's thing.
Yeah.
Right? I know there are limitations in the public system. There are definitely improvements that need to be made. And without a doubt, there are issues with accessibility for people of the lower socioeconomic class. But I do feel sometimes these resources are also underutilized. So hope if you guys are listening, utilize them if you need to.
Please do.
tell the
And
people.
trust me, I never know half of these options.
And I tell you, and one of the options that you guys have right now that you're using, Fantastic Fridays.
Yes, your de-stressor.
Basically free of cost.
Your hobby. Well, basically it is. And you can win things
No,
too.
but sometimes I'm have to pay a little internet bill.
Oh, well, no. We take no responsibility for the internet bill.
That's what I have to say,
right?
basically, Because, yeah.
But no, we have to thank Dr. Brian Kazaara because he
Definitely.
just gave us a wealth of information. Like, guys, I knew when I decided this topic that it was going to be informative, but trust me, you deliver you over deliver, you do a bag of things like you gave me things to think about, and I really go in, mull over it. So I have to say I appreciate that. Before you go, is there any big ups? I know you big up the man them, the brethren them, and the ladies that contribute to your mental health. We have any other big up that you want to share?
I'd really like to big up. So I believe yesterday was Nurses Day.
Yes.
So I really want to do a huge big up to the nurses because they really, really help. I think sometimes they're undervalued.
Yeah.
I know so many great nurses, right? And they help, they help us as doctors, not only, of course, in seeing patients and treating them, but they also provide emotional support sometimes. So I really do want to big up the nurses, and I have to big up mom and dad, the family. Wouldn't be here without them. And big up you guys. Kim, thank you so much. Thank you guys for having me here.
To the nurses, you don't know, say many bops.
Many bops. Big up owners. But yeah, man, I appreciate that you came out to discuss this, the information that you shared. Man, mind blown. I'm actually gonna, guys, yes, I sometimes rewatch to learn from it. So there are things that I was listening to, but I was listening to have a conversation. So I want to go back and listen to it on our YouTube channel. It will be available. Fantastic Fridays on YouTube, right? But Dr. Kazaara, thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
And as my Jamaicans would say, we hear them open up.
We hear them open up. It not lock ever again.
So now
right?
we definitely see the options available, guys.
Yes, and as I said, next week I think I really want to look at a different perspective. What about if you're in a relationship with somebody and mental health issues or concerns becomes a topic?
Yeah.
Or you notice certain things. So we just spoke about things you can identify in yourself or in others. What do you do? What about your family, your daughter? Most people, I've heard people say, boy, them brother mad. Them just say them brother mad. And they just know that that's a fact, but they do nothing about it. Right? So a whole other conversation to have, more to come on that. But yeah, guys, thank you all for listening. Thank you for staying tuned to Fantastic Fridays. And that is it for Talk the Ting with Kim. Any big ups you have out there, Mr. Fresh Concept?
Well, you don't know, as I said, like to big up the Nurses Day. Also like to big up the Mother's Day the other day that just passed. I want to also big up the kids them. It's a child month. All who finish the exams. Enjoying a little freedom right now. Who planning the vacation. Those who still have the, what you call it now, final semester exam or end of term exams coming up. You're studying. All the best to you guys out there. And thank up to the listeners who locked in on the radio, on Instagram. Thanks very much for keeping it locked to Fantastic Fridays. Yeah, and same here. Big up to everybody out there. Thank you guys for the ongoing support. I sometimes even get DMs, people just message us telling us that, they appreciate the show, they love it, whatever it is that we choose to discuss. So we appreciate it, guys. We appreciate that you choose every Friday to spend 3 whole hours with us. So remember, winners, if it is that you want something today, DM us. Make sure we know, our contact number for you, whatever it is. More giveaways to come. And I have to say, because it's going to happen before next week, big up my father. Happy birthday when it comes on the 16th of May. So Kim, right about now, I'm going to stop celebrating my birthday now. Right about now, yeah. Him don't celebrate it, but he's grateful to see another year. That's really it. Him say eventually he got through enough birthdays where it's just another day, but he's grateful to see another one. So daddy, big up you. Same for my uncle that happens to be born on the same day, and another friend of mine as well on the same day, Bethany. So big up all of you guys. Listen, the 16th of May, go on. I don't know if it was planned or what, but big up to all of you guys. I hope you'll have a good birthday and have a good weekend. Stay safe. Remember, say COVID not gone yet. Right? Not going like say COVID not keep. Still, social distance if you can. I know other persons, exercising the right not to wear masks and all that, but guys, still be careful because it's still very much going around and not everybody will get through it probably as easily as most of us has gotten through it. All right. So guys, stay safe. Friday Night Live is next. Well, I want to say big up to our winners for our Riddle Mania segment today. I want to say big up to Chanel and also big up to Carty. We're going to get some prizes to you, so you can message us on Instagram. And for the Flow users, your time.
Oh yes,
has
Flow
come.
credit, Flow phone. Come, we have about 1 minute left.
Here we go. *121 Flow. Let's go. 672-6589-5361-379 number sign and send.
Sir.
If you get the credit.
Why stress the people that mental right now with how quick you did that a while ago?
No. Everybody's relaxed getting that credit right now. So I actually read it slow, if you realize. All right, so persons, if you get the credit, you can let us know on the WhatsApp line or on the text line 876-212-9824.
Or 876-462-0919. So as usual, guys, it was fun on Fantastic Fridays. Looking forward to seeing you all again next week. And if you have any topics that you want me to discuss on Talk the Ting with Kim, just DM me at Kimmie Kim Kim, or you can DM Mr. Fresh Concepts, or just the page Fantastic 93 FM on Instagram.
Have a fantastic weekend.